An object suddenly appeared in the orbit of the Earth, existing there for a long time before being witnessed by all the smartest brains on Earth. That mysterious object stirred up the media world since the late 1950s. It was said to be a spy satellite launched by the Soviet Union, but the truth has been anything but straightforward until now. The Black Knight remains one of the most famous extraterrestrial objects orbiting our planet. Many believe it is a clear and undeniable trace of some civilization out there having certain impacts on the tiny planet named Earth today. Science has yet to decode the Black Knight. Where did it come from, and why is it there? Of course, it is not the only trace. There are many other objects, phenomena, from tangible to intangible, representing another civilization, still existing around us that we have not recognized. Welcome to the next video of Mysterious Treasures, titled Extraterrestrial Traces, aimed at collectively hunting down evidence that could refute the existence of some civilization still out there. The Black Knight still holds mysterious secrets. In 1899, a scientist named Nikola Tesla intercepted radio signals from an object flying in space. But it wasn't until 50 years later that people began to pay attention to this strange satellite and dubbed it the Black Knight. I know many of you already have a good understanding of what a satellite is. However, to shed the brightest light on our mystery, it might be helpful to revisit the concept and related information. Satellites are basically divided into two types. First, there are natural satellites. These are celestial objects orbiting a planet or asteroid in space. In our solar system, except for Mercury and Venus, all planets have at least one natural satellite. As the only natural satellite of Earth, the Moon forms the Earth-Moon system, exerting mutual gravitational influences and causing tidal effects on Earth. Although they are two different celestial bodies, they can be considered as a single entity to some extent and cannot exist without each other. The second type is artificial satellites. These are objects created by humans orbiting another object. Currently, there are countless artificial satellites in the sky launched by various countries for various purposes. However, our main character today, the Black Knight satellite, is neither an artificial satellite nor a natural satellite, because it certainly wasn't born in the universe, nor was it created by any nation and launched into orbit. When the curious scientist Nikola Tesla intercepted radio signals from a strange object flying in space, no one paid attention to it. The universe seems indifferent to humans. It's like a forbidden zone that can be observed but cannot be reached. Since 1957, a new chapter in the space race era has been opened by the Soviets, with the launch of Sputnik 1, built and sent into orbit by the Soviet Union using the R-7 Semyorka rocket. It orbited the Earth for 3 weeks before running out of power, then remained silent for another 2 months before falling back into the atmosphere. At the same time, in a distant place, a communications doctor in Venezuela attempted to capture images of Sputnik 1 as a proud achievement of humanity. But he could not have imagined that what he captured was an extremely unusual satellite. The strange thing was that this satellite followed an orbit around the Earth, but in the opposite direction, from east to west, which humans had never created at that time. Until now, people have just remembered the signals that Tesla intercepted over 50 years ago. The mysterious object beyond Earth gradually became famous under the name Black Knight. What do you think when something very strange suddenly appears in front of your house without a greeting? It's like a slow-burning bomb, mysterious, and you never know when it will harm you. Where did that strange object come from? Why did it appear here? Stories about the Black Knight satellite began to appear before the public around the mid-1950s, with the Green Louis Dispatch and the San Francisco Examiner first publishing articles about extraterrestrial satellites in the issue dated May 14, 1954. But then everything subsided shortly after, even after Dr. Lee Cyclus discovered the Black Knight's true identity. Interest in it was not too great. Only in 1960, when the media collectively reported news along with many theories, did the community start to become greatly alarmed. A Pastime had an article on March 7, 1960, mentioning the Black Knight as follows. The dark fence radar system located at Gila River near Phoenix, Arizona, and Jordan Lake, Alabama, has been operational since August 1959, firing fan-shaped radio waves with an amplitude of 400 kilometers on each side. In newspapers, the U.S. has discovered a mysterious black satellite flying in the sky along an unusual orbit. It could be a spy satellite launched by Russia, and it has raised an uneasy feeling, because America didn't know what was going on above. However, the Department of Defense solemnly announced that the identity of the satellite had been determined beforehand. It was an unmanned space debris or remnants of a lost reconnaissance satellite. The reaction from the U.S. government was not surprising at all. Every time some strange object appeared, they quickly explained it away as a weather satellite weather balloon or something similar. This time, the Pentagon itself declared about the Black Knight, claiming ownership of it. That object, it was identified as space debris from the Discoverer satellite launched by the U.S. Air Force and had been lost in space for so long. The discovery of the black object demonstrated the effectiveness of the U.S. space program, but this time it seems that the Pentagon had taken a step ahead. On August 23, 1954, the Aviation Weed and Space Technology magazine published an article clearly outlining it. The Pentagon deliberately kept information secret for military purposes. They feared that observing this strange satellite would reveal their vulnerabilities in sky observation and monitoring, and moreover, the United States also did not want to admit that it had been outperformed by the Soviet Union in space research. So this satellite is neither Soviet nor American. Its mysterious origin challenges humanity to find an answer. The first strangeness of the Black Knight attracted attention. Perhaps it was its orbit. As mentioned earlier, the Black Knight's orbit is a polar orbit. To put it simply, it is an orbit that passes through both poles of the Earth. And did you know at the time the Black Knight was discovered, neither the Soviet Union nor the United States had the scientific and technical expertise to produce and maintain such a satellite? It was not until 1960 that the first polar orbit satellite was launched into space. The imaginary event of the mysterious satellite was estimated to weigh more than 10 tons and was considered the heaviest satellite orbiting our planet at that time. The human space exploration era also witnessed the height of the Cold War. Both the Soviet Union and the United States had fiercely contested indirect confrontations, especially on the intelligence front. The polar orbit flight path is often used for satellites with missions to map the world, observe Earth disasters, and photograph Earth from a specific location. Therefore, it is believed that the Black Knight is a spy satellite of one of the two superpowers used to monitor its opponent. However, as mentioned, it is certainly not a human-made product. We do not have the capability nor the scientific expertise for such a large, complex object. So, who brought the Black Knight into space? What is its purpose? Could there be something deeper that we don't know yet? After failing to prove the origin of the Black Knight satellite created by someone on Earth, people began to turn to various hypotheses. It sounds extremely crazy, but it makes sense to many people from a certain perspective. The most supported and seemingly most believable hypothesis is that the Black Knight is an extraterrestrial spy satellite sent to Earth to monitor humanity. You must be familiar with the name Nostradamus, one of the most famous prophets in human history. Some of his predictions have been verified over time. Nostradamus often made prophecies about significant world events such as epidemics, wars, and terrible natural disasters. Do you believe it? This prophet once made a prediction that sent chills down people's spines. He spoke of humanity discovering objects in space sent to us by some mysterious observers. On September 3, 1960, exactly 7 months after the Dark Fence radar system detected signals from the Black Knight, a space surveillance camera set up by the defense conglomerate on island captured images of the Black Knight. By that time, many people around the world could observe the Black Knight with the naked eye, with a red dot moving at a very high speed compared to human-made satellites. After many years of vague observations, reports, or hypotheses, we still have never had the opportunity to approach the mysterious object hovering above humanity's heads. Until 1963, astronaut Godin Cooper was sent into space on his final flight. According to his orbit, he reported seeing a greenish glowing object before steering clear, slowly approaching his spacecraft. The Mocha Observatory in Australia, which received the report, detected an unidentified flying object right on the radar, moving from east to west. NBC News continuously monitored and reported on this event. It seems that after astronaut Cooper returned to Earth, reporters from the network were prevented from approaching him for further details. It appears that Cooper was influenced by the government to ensure that all information about the Black Knight was kept confidential. The official explanation given for Cooper's observations was that high levels of carbonic gas had caused hallucinations. A trained astronaut, having undergone countless rigorous training sessions, how could he easily succumb to hallucinations? Could it be that the Black Knight holds a secret that we are not supposed to know? The mystery deepens as a Swedish amateur radio researcher claimed to have decoded a series of signals received from the Black Knight and interpreted them into a star system diagram resembling the Ursa Minor constellation. The message stated, "Our home is in the Ursa Minor. It's a binary star system. We live on the 6th planet from the Sun in the system. It's the 2nd largest planet in the system and has a moon. We are exploring your moon. Are they attempting to communicate with us, or what is their intention? Why would humanity deliberately ignore this attempt at communication?" In the Ursa Minor star system, there is the famous binary pair Epsilon Boötis, formerly known as Izar and Pulcherima, emitting a red light visible to the naked eye, located slightly to the north celestial pole. Thus, the possibility of the Black Knight satellite originating from this place is entirely plausible. There is another piece of evidence that further strengthens belief in the extraterrestrial origin of the Black Knight, namely, its ability to emit radio signals. Since the early 19th century, scientist Nikola Tesla, the father of numerous famous scientific inventions such as X-rays, alternating current distribution, and radio transmission systems, used his Tesla coil to pick up radio signals from this mysterious celestial body. After setting up a high-voltage radio station in the city of Colorado Springs, at that time technologically lagging, scientists failed to identify the source of these signals. According to reports from global monitoring agencies, the satellite continuously transmitted radio signals for over 50 years before ceasing. In 1973, a Scottish writer rose to prominence after analyzing data from Norwegian radio signal researchers, proposing the hypothesis that these signals were transmitted from an object 12,600 years old, located at one of Earth's Lagrange points. For those unfamiliar, Lagrange points, or Lagrangian points, are 5 positions in interplanetary space where a small object is affected by gravitational forces in theory, can remain stationary with respect to two larger objects, such as a satellite, relative to Earth and the Moon. They are similar to geostationary orbits. Therefore, they allow an object to remain at a specific position in space rather than orbiting. It constantly changes its position. To this day, sightings of the Black Knight are still occasionally reported, even with the naked eye, by people on Earth. A resident of Sentosa, a province in the Lagota region of the Philippines, once inadvertently recorded a video showing a strange black object floating in the sky. There is no more doubt, this is unequivocal evidence of the presence of extraterrestrial beings. Personally, I find that the evidence regarding the Black Knight is too scarce, too mysterious, fitting its elusive nature. Most of the scant visual information or hypotheses lack high credibility. The way they claim to decode the messages isn't disclosed, so it's no more than an unsubstantiated assertion. Therefore, while the hypothesis with the most believers and supporters seems plausible, I, personally, am not entirely convinced by it. Instead, I lean towards a lesser discussed hypothesis, suggesting the possibility of some ancient civilization creating the Black Knight satellite. We've had many ancient civilizations with remarkable astronomical knowledge. In ancient Chinese texts, there's consistent mention of astronomical perceptions such as Earth being a floating object in space, the laws and principles of planetary motion, and the relationship between the cosmos, Earth, and humanity. These form the basis for devising the Chinese calendar, including numerology in the Book of Changes, predicting the correspondence between celestial phenomena and events in human society. Or take the ancient Egyptian civilization, which began developing astronomy since prehistoric times, with the presence of stone circles in Egypt dating back to the 5th millennium BCE, demonstrating the importance of astronomy in the religious life of ancient Egypt, even in prehistoric times. The Egyptians proved to be excellent observers as they measured the apparent position, meaning the multiple visible eyes, of the stars, and they built their pyramids to perfectly align with the constellation of Orion in the sky. Not stopping there, ancient Egyptians also mapped the stars, identifying the 12 zodiac signs and other planets in the solar system. We also can't overlook the important astronomical discoveries of ancient Greeks, who proposed the heliocentric model, placing the sun at the center of the universe and the Earth revolving around the sun. They argued that the sun is the central fire of the universe, and the other observed planets are rotating entities, while this fire follows a certain order. This is a remarkable discovery, as many people thought the theory of the sun at the center and the Earth revolving around the sun was only proposed in the 16th century. The ancients were far more knowledgeable than we tend to think. Combining these factors, we can believe that the ancients, with the assistance of some superior technologies we haven't achieved yet, created and operated the Black Knight satellite to this day. It's similar to how the Egyptians built the pyramids or the legendary story of the city of Atlantis. Nonetheless, the question about the Black Knight remains unanswered, awaiting humanity to explore the answer. Have you found a satisfactory answer for yourself? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section of this video. Goodbye, and see you again.